Right, YouTube family. I'm in the fight money chair. Now, one thing you'll know about me is that I always do a reaction after every fight. But this time around, after UFC 197, I just didn't do a video. And my reason for that was the fight was great, everything was wonderful, but the numbers just didn't sound right to me. So I said, let me wait. I was pretty disturbed about that. I didn't want to do a video where I'm all jacked up on the emotion, that type of stuff. So I said, let me wait, run the numbers, because this UFC 197, it's indication of either poor marketing, mismanagement of resources by the UFC, or a lack of interest by consumers. So that's when I heard the numbers Dana White put out, I was very concerned. So I didn't do a reaction video like feedback after the fight. I said, let me do some analysis first before I say anything else. So I'm in the money chair. One thing about this chair, if you've been watching my channel, whenever I'm in this channel, there's only one thing in this chair, only one thing I talk about. It's money. There's been a few times I've been in this chair where I've talked about fights, but in this chair, I only talk about money. Only money. So let's get ready to dive into these numbers. If it's your first time on this channel, then you know I'm in the money. This is called the money chair. I hope you come back and see me more times in the money chair. But I'm hoping more times than often when you watch my channel, you'll see me in the fight chair, which is where I like to be. In the money chair, I don't like to be in the money chair that often because it's just not a good vibe I'm getting off what how the UFC is running the promotion, how to manage the resources. So having said all that, let's dive into the numbers, man. All right, guys. So last night, here are numbers that Dana White put out. Okay, so he said it was 11,350 people, and the gate was 2.3 million. Okay, now when I heard that, my immediately I just turned my computer off, and that was it. I didn't want to hear anymore. Immediately, I didn't want to hear anymore. Okay. Now, in case you didn't get, I'm gonna put a pin in that, and first, I'm gonna tell you why I didn't want to hear anymore. 11,300 people attend the event, and the gate is $2.3 million. Think about this. 14,697 people attended the last time Conor fight. The gate was $8.1 million. The difference in the number of people is 3,447. The difference in the money is 5.8 million. Now you mean to tell me that 3,000 more people bring in $5.8 million? Something not right. Unless the UFC sold all the tickets, they're dirt cheap, and the average ticket price came out to be $202.64, or the UFC couldn't sell the tickets. All the cheaper tickets got sold out, and the more expensive ones didn't get sold out. So as I went back and watched the fight, I was watching the camera to see if the camera was gonna pan out across the room to see if maybe I could see some empty seats, because I was like, no, this doesn't seem right. Those numbers don't seem right as I went back and watched the fight. That would mean that when Conor McGregor fights, the average gross revenue per ticket is $551.13. Now, you're Dana White, you're the UFC, you know these numbers. Your numbers are trending down, and you're going to UFC 200. You're arguing with Conor McGregor over a press conference. No, no, my friend, you have more serious issues here, and that's why I didn't care for anything else. That really upset me once Dana White presented the numbers. There's nobody in the pilot chair at the UFC looking at these numbers. Here is John Jones coming out of a long layover, one of the pound for pound best fighters, right? Coming out of a long layover, going up against OSP, real prime talent. That guy was so tough. He had 11 days, 11 or no, 3 weeks to get ready. And he came in there. He got his arm broken. He kept fighting. I mean, that was the clash of the Titans. For a regular person watching, it might not seem like that. But for me watching who know about fighting and combat, that was spectacular. That was a clash of the Titans. Demetrius Johnson, his fight was spectacular too. I mean, one of the most dominant featherweights in the history of the UFC. And you tell me that the gate is only 2.3 million? Something's wrong here. So 2.3, 2.8, something's wrong here. Those numbers are trending very low. The UFC has a real problem here. It is, like I said, it's either indication of mismanagement, poor marketing, or disinterest by the public. You're not going to go into MGM after seeing these numbers, the trend of these numbers, and then decide, hey, I'm going to put on a big historic event without Conor McGregor on the card. It's not going to happen without the Conor McGregor or Ronda Rousey. You're going to need one of those two people to bring the buys up because they're well known. The average fly by night fan is going to come out of pocket and spend money without knowing one of the big names. Okay. Now look at this: Kimbo Slice versus Dada 5,000 is up there in the history books of one of the highest pay per view buys. Right? Kimbo versus Dada 5,000, and you tell me that John Jones versus OSP didn't even come close to that. There's some real issues here going on with the UFC. I said real issues. I mean real issues that they're not looking at the fundamentals of the numbers. So if I was Dana White, I work it out with Conor McGregor because 3,000 people, uh, the marginal difference of 3,000 people between 11,000 and the 14 or 15,000, that 3,000 people, that gap is equivalent to 5.8 million. And that's why Conor McGregor is needed for the UFC 200. There's a more serious issue here. So from the money perspective, this is where I'm going to end this video. And then I'm going to come back and talk about the fight, what I really liked and why it was great for me. But the UFC, they need to get their stuff together. And they spend so much time marketing UFC 200 that they forgot about 197. Pay-per-view buys was some of the estimates for the pay-per-view buys was in the 250,000 category. That's terrible. Last time Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, that was 1.5 million. The last time Conor McGregor fought before Nate Diaz, the gate was 10 million, something like that. Now, think about this carefully. And you're going into MGM, UFC 200 with these numbers, and nobody is saying, hey, let's work on whatever issue we got with Conor McGregor. We're getting all this publicity off it. Let's get that resolved. Let's get him in the ring, and let's make this money. So this is why I know that these people are so hung up on themselves that they're not looking at the numbers. Yes, it's a tough decision to make to let it slide, but you gotta look at the big picture, where the money is. You don't want UFC 200 to be a flop. So from the money perspective, this is a red flag for me. This is a horrible indicator. That's a horrible indicator. I mean, really horrible indicator. If you're a production manager and you saw these numbers, you would immediately notify a meeting with your line manager, the CFO, or whoever, and find out where the cost overrun is. What is your overhead rate? What's happening immediately? As a finance person, I deal with numbers every day, so I'm not gonna go into the gory details and bore you guys, but it's a red flag to me. So that's my 2 cents from the money chair, and I'm gonna come back and talk about the fight. All right, guys, peace out.